Hey there, welcome. Hope you're all doing well. So, in my opinion, supersets are the single best way to make your strength training and your lifting more time efficient. However, this is only really the case if they are done in a particular way. Otherwise, you risk compromising your results for the sake of a saved time. So, as usual, here is the plan for the video. We'll talk about what a superset actually is, because obviously that's quite important for this sort of video. We'll talk about what it is I'm talking about that actually is going to make this work and give you that benefit of saving up to 50% of the time with the same gains made. I'm also going to give you a couple examples of bad examples within this slide so that you sort of know what I'm talking about here. And then I'll give you some examples of good supersets, or ones that are going to give you all of this benefit. So a superset is when you go back and forth between two unrelated, that's bold and italicized for a reason, exercises, instead of doing straight exercises of a single exercise. So the example I give here is you do a set of bench press. It could be any kind of bench press. You rest for 30 seconds to 1 minute, do a set of dumbbell rows, rest for 30 seconds to 1 minute, and you repeat that for however many sets you have planned of each exercise. Now, if you were doing just straight sets of bench press, and then after those sets, however many you did straight sets of dumbbell rows, you would have to rest somewhere between, let's say, 90 seconds to 3 minutes in order to fully recover and make each set high enough quality that's going to give you as much results as it should. Because again, the purpose of resting in between sets is so that your set quality increases and therefore you see better results over time. However, when you're going back and forth through exercises in which there are no overlapping or related muscles, as you perform a set of dumbbell rows, let's say you already did a set of bench press, you rested for 45 seconds, now you're doing a set of dumbbell rows. Functionally, while your back and your biceps are working here, your chest and your triceps and your shoulders are, for the most part, resting. Or at the very least, the rest and recovery that they need to do before their next set is occurring while you're doing this set. Now, obviously, you're still working somewhat from a cardiovascular perspective, but the decreased rest here is enough for that to recuperate, and it just hasn't been shown to be that much of a limiter when this has been studied. So, for instance, this paper down here is a systematic review with meta-analysis where they looked at all of the research comparing supersets to straight sets in which the training sessions are equated. They're the same volume, the same intensity is done. It's just one person, they're done as a superset going back and forth, and another person, they're done as straight sets. What typically happens is that both groups will make the same progress in terms of muscle growth and increases in strength. But the group that does the supersets as opposed to the straight sets will achieve those benefits with about half the training time. Typically, they will report the training feels harder, but they're not limited per se in their actual training output. Because again, in any strength training session, most of your time spent in the gym is going to be resting, just by the nature of it. Your sets of lifting are not going to be longer in duration than your rest periods. At least they shouldn't be, because otherwise you can't really truly train the strength or impose the stimulus that's going to result in muscle growth over time. So now again, the key to this working and giving you that time-saving benefit of getting your strength training done in half the time for the same results is that the superset you choose must be truly unrelated in nature. Because if there are any overlapping muscles between two exercises, then the muscle that overlaps is just going to be, it's not going to recover nearly as much as it should in order to pump out high quality enough sets to elicit the results that you're after. So for instance, if you're going to do a superset of squats and deadlifts, your glutes and your lower back are working very notably in both exercises. And if you were doing rest periods of 30 seconds to a minute between each of these, then what's going to happen is that those muscles are just going to get torched because they're not getting any chance to breathe. And your quads and your hamstrings are going to be left not stimulated enough per se. And again, that's because your quads and your hamstrings will be significantly more rested and recovered than your glutes and your lower back. Bench press and push-ups make an even more obvious example because the muscles used in these exercises are exactly the same. And really, to make this work, you would have to rest the full 2 to 3 minutes that we talked about before in order for each set to be, of high quality at all. And then another thing worth mentioning that I think is noteworthy for running up any good superset is just gym etiquette, because it's not typically good gym etiquette to take up two pieces of machinery or apparatuses at any one point in time. So for instance, doing a leg press and a seated leg curl would make sense by this definition up here of what makes a good superset. But you're going to get a couple of scoffs from other people in the gym if you are taking up these two pieces of equipment at the same time. And honestly, in my opinion, that's the main benefit of having a home gym, is because you can do any superset you want that makes sense up here, because you're not going to interfere with anyone else because you are the only person. So to summarize here, a good superset that's going to give you the time-saving benefit of cutting your training time in half, whatever that might be, whatever the training time might be, while giving you the same results for your efforts, is going to be a superset between two different exercises that are not related in any way. They don't have any muscles that overlap in any way. And again, I'm going to give you some examples in a sec, but also does not impose on anyone else's ability to complete their workout more than it would if you were just using one piece of equipment at a time. So like I said, a machine leg press and a seated leg curl as a superset in most gyms is not going to make for very good gym etiquette. But a goblet squat and a leg curl, if you just lug a dumbbell over to the leg curl machine, assuming there is space for that available, that's going to make it very, at least, by the rule of not having overlapping muscles, that's going to make a good superset that does not, impede on anyone else's ability to complete the workout. Same thing with the dumbbell remaining deadlifts and the leg extension. There's not really any overlapping muscles there. And then you can read through the rest of these, but hopefully it gives you, a bit of a good idea of what a couple of good examples would look like here. And actually, just to finish up, to comment down here below, you can get very creative with these supersets as long as that rule of no unrelated muscles is being met. So for example, it doesn't have to be a superset between two different lower body or upper body exercises. A conventional deadlift and a push-up are very different types of exercises, but again, are not really related in any meaningful way. So they would themselves make a good superset. And then the same thing is true for barbell back squats and a dumbbell side raise. So with that said, that is all that I have for this video today. I hope you found that somewhat helpful, interesting, or somewhere between. And again, the link to that reference I put up there on a slide previously is going to be linked in the description box below. If you have any questions, comments, and concerns, don't hesitate to comment them down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Hope you have a great day, and I will speak to you soon.